What's up, you guys? Let's dive into the world of holographic sights. Specifically, we're going to talk about the EOTech lineup. And guys, I love my EOTech. I love it so much, I got 3 of them. So, these are high quality optics that are reliable and definitely have superior performance compared to a lot of other offerings. If you're watching this video, you're probably considering getting an EOTech already. Well, I'm going to tell you, you will not be disappointed by getting one of these, and I'm hoping to help you guys find the exact model that is right for you. So, let's cover some of the most popular offerings and maybe some that you didn't know existed and should be considered. If you take your optics purchases seriously like I do, stick around because I'm going to break down each model. Welcome back to my subscribers. If you're new here, welcome. This is the Dialed Sportsman channel. Let's get into it. So this was my first EOTech I got years ago. I'm very happy with it. But since then, I did pick up this and also this. So first, let's talk about the different body styles. And by the way, these are all the offerings that EOTech currently offers to the civilian market. Okay, so the larger series, such as this one, is the HWS 500 series. And then there's the XPS series and the EXPS series. First off, let's start with the HWS 500 series. This is the OG EOTech design with the longer front area. This model is a little bit more confusing to understand, but I do want to talk about it first because generally it's the cheapest option to go with. So the 500 series takes 2 AA batteries, which is probably one of the biggest separators from the other models. This is why the overall body style is a little bit bigger and longer. These batteries will run parallel to the barrel of your firearm. So the internals of where the battery connects to the positive and negative connections could possibly wear out the internals a little bit more over time. This was an issue back in the day, maybe 10, 20 years ago, but to my understanding, that's not an issue anymore. And then both the XPS and the EXPS series uses one CR123 battery, and it runs perpendicular to your barrel. So the batteries are actually a little bit more secure, in my opinion, because the metal body wraps around them in a different way since they're perpendicular, which kind of secures them a little bit more in position. But yeah, so the HWS 500 series models all have, like I said, the AA compatible long front body style. Now, going a little further, the 10th digit is the next thing to take a look at for this style. So the 10th digit will either be a 1 or a 5. The 1 means it is not night vision compatible, and the 5 means it is night vision compatible. And the final digit in the 500 series will either be a 2 or an 8. The 2 means the optic is mounted directly on the rail of your firearm. So it screws in on the side, and this will have an absolute co-witness to your iron sights. The 8 means the optic will have a quick detach mount, but also it'll be risen a little bit to the lower 1/3 height. So your iron sights will be in the lower 1/3 quadrant of your sight box picture when you're looking through the reticle. Now, the next models are the more compact models, like we talked about before, that take the CR123 batteries. They're also a little bit lighter, respectively, about 1.5 ounces relative to the models we just talked about, given the mounting styles. So first off, the XPS series, these all have a side screw mount, and they will all be co-witness with your iron sights. These will be a little bit cheaper overall, generally, than the EXPS series. So these all have the quick attach system that also rise the optic a little bit higher, so you have the lower 1/3 mount. So for these two smaller body styles, each of the following is true for these. So if the preceding number is a 2, that means the 2 represents it is a non-night vision compatible model. If the preceding number is a 3, then the model is night vision compatible. So again, to reiterate here, for the smaller body styles, the XPS is absolute co-witness. The EXPS is a lower 1/3 mount. And then if it ends in 2, not night vision compatible, ends in 3, good to go for night vision. So far, these are a little bit more simple to understand. Okay, so now we're going to break down reticle choice. So for all these models, after taking into the body style, it will then end with a dash and a number. So if it ends with a dash and then 0, it has the center dot, which is a 1 MOA dot, and it will have a ring around it that is 68 MOA width, and it will also have markings or dashes at the 12, 3, 6, and 9 o'clock mark. So if you're using this for something like an AR-15 5.56, you will likely want to run a 0 at 50 yards, and then the way the bullet drops, it will also hit the exact same point at 200 yards. I think a lot of you guys will probably already know this, but just want to explain that a little bit because we're going to talk a little bit more about different reticle markings coming up. Okay, so if you're looking at this model with the ring around it, it will have a bottom T point. That bottom T point at the 6 o'clock mark around the ring, that is supposed to represent a 7-yard distance. And that is consistent for all the optics that do have that ring, the 68 MOA ring. Okay, so next up we have in the section of the dashes, we're talking about reticles here. So the next one is dash 1. The dash 1 will only have the dot. And some guys prefer this because they don't like the outside ring, or some guys just prefer the dot because they are going to use it with night vision. So it comes a little bit down to preference. Me personally, I do like having the ring on my models. Next up is dash 2. So the dash 2 will have 2 dots. It'll have a center dot and then a dot just below that. And so the second dot is supposed to represent 500 yards. That one's a little easy to understand because dash 2 kind of represents the 2 dots. The next one is dash 4, and that one is a 4 dot. So there's the center dot and then there's 4 preceding. So the first dot, if you're doing the 50-yard 0/200 for the first dot, the second dot would represent 400 yards, third dot would be 500 yards, and then the fourth dot would be 600 yards. So this setup would be most ideal for shooters who want options for a 3x or 5x magnifying zoom. So a side flip magnifier. So to wrap these up real quick, the dash 0 is the traditional 1 MOA dot in the center with the 68 MOA ring around it. The dash 1 is only the dot. The dash 2 is 2 dot, and the dash 4 is the 4 dot option. Now there are a few outlier options as well that could be caliber specific, such as 300 blackout or even archery models. But as long as you follow these guidelines I just laid out for you in this video, you should find exactly what you're looking for. All right, guys, so I know that's a lot of information for you. If you need to, do feel free to rewind to a section that you are interested in or need to do a quick recap on. And yeah, guys, check out one of my partners, Brownells. They do carry all these models I just talked about. And if you use the code DIALED10, you will save on these models we just discussed. And yeah, for me, I really, really like the EOTech. I do have the Dash 4 on one of my rifles, and with the magnifier, it is really, really nice to shoot far out. And then for other models, such as the 300 Blackout, I got the Dash Zero model, which is just the one dot with the circle, and I find it to work really, really well. The Dash 4 is a little busy. If you don't have a magnifier, I don't know that I'd recommend that. I'd probably just recommend the Dash 1, the Dash 0, or the Dash 2. But yeah, guys, thanks for sticking around. I hope this information was helpful for you. If you did like this video, feel free to jump on board and subscribe to see more content like this. Also, let me know if I missed anything, and I'd love to hear your preferred EOTech setup. So yeah, thanks again, guys, for sticking around, and I'll see you next time. Take care.